It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Hello, good afternoon. It's the 4th of June 2019. It's a minute past 2 p.m. CET. Piotr here, and this is the New York Open live market coverage. Global Liteforex YouTube channel. Thank you that you found the time to join us today. Nothing extraordinary on the agenda, just two important Fed speakers. We are talking about the Williams within the next 30 minutes, and then around the 3:45 p.m. CET, Fed Chair Powell speaks. We'll see. Before we start, as usual, a risk warning, guys. Please bear in mind trading FX and margin trading crypto on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors who can stay in loss some or initial investment. So please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. All right. So where we are. There was a little bit of dollar buying during the London session, especially via euro. So of course it's visible via dollar index as well. Overall, looks like there is a little bit of the risk bounce. I'm talking about indices. So we are going to check, especially the Nasdaq hit yesterday quite important levels, so we are going to discuss this stuff as well. But before we start with the charts, what we have on the agenda, again, 2:30 p.m. CET Williams, 3:45, 3:55 p.m. CET Fed Chair Powell speaks. At 4 p.m. CET factory orders from the US. In the meantime, the Kiwi traders are going to get the GDT price index as well. And to be honest with you, that's it from the calendar perspective. There was probably the risk bounce. Here is a DAX, but as well as US indices. Probably the main reason, I couldn't find anything else, was related to China Commerce Ministry comment. Few of them I'm gonna to paste to the chat. So you are going to be able to see, and looks like algo, they don't matter whatever they're gonna read, and it's China related. It's like, okay, let's buy, let's push it higher. There we go. All right. There is also Fed events right now, but again, Williams and Powell later on most important, but events, it's trying to balance what Bullard said yesterday. That's what we discussed earlier today. Bullard was extremely dovish. Evans, economy is doing well. Inflation near 2%, and now the question with the inflation, the question could be because you know Bullard is a Fed member and he's taking the money for this, but maybe I'm mistaken. We can try to discuss. I'm not a macro guy, but I think that the tariffs. Because the producers are gonna to pay more, right? So they will push that higher prices into the customers, and I think that at some point we are gonna to see, of course, if there are gonna be escalation, if they are gonna to hold for a longer time, we might see higher inflation in US, but that's time. Okay, so slowly let's switch to charts, and let's start with dollar index in relation to what we discussed earlier today during the morning meeting. Okay, so let me switch. There you go. That's the 1 hour chart, and looks like it was not over under creation. Market went and was looking for stops. It might be even better from the dollar perspective, right? So we hit 97 levels discussed during the morning meeting, quite important, 97, 96, 80. At the same time, euro dollar was testing very important 1275. We discussed the daily close above. We might see change of the direction short term, but anyway, as of now, here on the dollar index, as of now, we are trying to hold this 97 level, and it's, when we are talking about the past, plenty of times we are bouncing, pushing higher, pushing lower around this 97, right? So in that case, if there was a stop count, so we had the stop count latest over here, and if dollar will try to rebuild here, we had another stop count, so probably a little bit more dollar strength in the coming hours, right? But don't forget, two important events this week will take place Thursday and Friday. Thursday, it's a ECB day, and by the way, we are going to cover ECB rate decision as well as Draghi press conference live here on Liteforex global YouTube channel. So you are more than welcome to join me. We start at 1:15 p.m. CET, and Friday is a non-farm payrolls day, and we are going to cover it live as well, and we start 15 minutes ahead of the event. So there is a possibility we are going to see a little bit of the dollar rally. Maybe I'm too optimistic about this 98. Maybe it should be done that way. Right, first, of course, mid of that range. In that case, we are talking about levels 97.70. That's the key level here from the dollar perspective. The higher the levels, that's the question about the weekly open, right? And from the higher time frame perspective, that's what also was discussed earlier today, and you are more than welcome to check the archive section on this YouTube channel, and you can try to review our morning meeting. And dollar is gaining the ground, and we discuss it here. If dollar is gonna be able to hold 97, we might see higher levels. So as you can see here. Of course, it's a Tuesday, but we trying to get back inside this channel based on the weekly chart, right? We trying to hold that range we discussed, right? So we are trying to reverse here. That's gonna be very interesting. Actually, we need a little bit more volatility, you know, to get the things more interesting. All right, let's get back to the platform. Okay, so what we have here, more euro dollar weakness. I think this over under is playing out here. What we might see, I'm waiting with I've been a little bit more optimistic. I'm waiting around 70, but maybe after Williams or Powell we might see the spike. Anyway, I think the situation around 12.15, once we see 12.15 on euro dollar, that's where the decision could be made, right? And now why I think 12.15 is a key here. So let's switch to daily chart. All right, it's the level we broke through yesterday, right? So I think that something was here close to swing high, we broke through, so retest of that level, that's the key, right? The good thing from the bear's perspective, from the seller perspective, as of now, I don't know where we are going to be, is this move back below yesterday high. Now would be great to get prices lower below the daily open from the seller's perspective, right? So overall, with this type of the daily close, maybe a little bit lower, it might be the case. Also, we discussed a few times that was the stop count only. We hit the range from the 17th of April, the bottom of the range, and we discussed it earlier today, and there is a rejection. So in case you are bear, in case you are holding short, I think that the key is 12.15 here, or daily close above 75, and then we will start to fight with that range, and that might be the challenge, 12.75.13. From the both buyers and sellers, right? So I think something around 12.15 to the downside and something around 12.75.13 level to the upside as a key psychological levels for now here on euro dollar. The levels below 12.15, right? So in case we are going to break through that level, I think that something closer to 11.80, 11.70 as a next. Daily close above 12.75, above 12.75.13 level, right? Might bring, we may talk about, in that case, we may talk about range break, right? And in that case, we can make the measure and we can talk even about the levels above 114 on euro dollar, all right? But as of now, just trying to summarize euro dollar just for now, downside 12.15 ish, upside 75.13 level for now. We got 15 minutes till Williams. So we can try to discuss it. We can try to discuss it Aussie dollar because there was a rate cut, right? But the reality is that the reaction was maybe not that everyone was expected, right? We were trying to push prices higher. But what we discussed earlier today during the morning meeting, and what we discussed before rate decision, was that 70 level is gonna be tough to break with the first attempt, right? In case of no cut, maybe, but also later, after the RBA interest rate decision a few hours ago, we also had the head of RBA speech, and he did not rule it out second cut, right? So that's those two spikes to the downside, all right, related into his speech. Now, what we discussed was from the weekly, the breakdown here, right, connected with this supply, right? Also better visible with this supply on daily after the breakdown, right? So we were discussing that it's a possibility. We see if bears wants to continue move to the downside, we have to stop here, right? And then on the hourly, we're talking about this line break, repeat, retest, move to the downside. I'm sitting short around the current level, and I do because of this price action, I do have the order above today's high to sell, like if market wants to look for retest 70, and for both my stop is above 70.30. So that's how the Aussie dollar looks like. The first target is around 69.35. I wouldn't be surprised if we are going to see the levels today, for example. More important, the second target, I'm looking for eventually, if I'm correct, I'm looking either for stop hunt below 68.70 over here, or I'm going to look for market to double that range, because we make the range, that's why I'm waiting a little bit higher here as well, and eventually below, we are talking about the 68. All right, so that's how I see the things on Australian dollar. I also got, but that's maybe for Thursday when we are going to cover ECB. I've got from the much higher perspective euro dollar view, but let's not discuss. Let's leave it for Thursday. I think that's a good thing. Now cable. We got yesterday very weak manufacturing PMI, right? We got today very weak construction PMI, and the pound is trying to hold the ground. So I got my own theory on it, that the latest pound weakness we've seen for a month, May, right? For the whole month over here, probably some guys were better informed. So now with all these negativities, there is a opposite side. There are sellers. So the guys who sold above 30, right? They've got the opposite side to take their profits. That might be the case. The thing is, as we discussed, 27.50, that's the line in the sand for both. It's a level around the yearly open, right? And we very easily broke through that level. We retest that level, and it was rejected, and we made a new low, right? There are a few things over here with cable I'm watching right now. It's a question of, I like this 27.56 to finish the business over here, right? Because it's related to the yearly open, but we might see some kind of the retest only of this swing high, over here, right? So it might be a little bit below 27.50, but overall, and that's what I've mentioned. That's what I've mentioned yesterday, that I'm not in a rush right now to try to sell the pound at current level, even with this weaker data right now, because you know the many things are going on currently in UK. Most probably we are going to get more information about the new prime minister soon, and that might be some kind of a good excuse to push, for example, pound, to try to push pound a little bit higher. So in that case, spike higher still possible. There is a little bit more from Evans, something about inflationary pressure over here. And that's all, and there you go. That's what I've said. That's also the consumers and labor market strong. So looks like very positive comment, and that might be the reason we see the Nasdaq going higher, right? But there is I think one more based on what we discussed. And of course, during the second part of our meeting, we are going to get back and check the indices, right? Okay, we still have 8 minutes, still Williams, so we can check another pair. That's the euro pound. I'm also waiting. Let's have a look. Also waiting, or maybe it's already opened. No, it's a limit to sell here. We will get back into it. Based on what I've seen, again, daily, we are still fighting with all these upper shadows. What we have here, the latest move to the upside here, right? So still we are fighting with some supply, plenty of these levels, and we are trying to go higher. There was a rejection. We moved lower below yesterday high, below yesterday close, and below today's open, right? So overall, the next possible level is a weekly open as long as we are below. Then also taking into the consideration, and that's, they didn't hit my order. Also looking at the hourly chart intraday, right? I like this attempt to go higher with quick rejection. So all these buyers over here, all these buyers, latest buyers, right? They were trapped, right? So with one move we took them out, right? So meaning that right now I do expect supply resides here, but I didn't. Why my order is a little bit higher? Because I like to play in that case with, if we are talking about the supply, I like to work with bodies, not with shadows, and opposite, right? If we are talking about the demand, also I like to work with bodies, not the shadows, right? So in that case, in case of supply, upper shadows, in case of demand, lower shadows. So yeah, we will see. Now, what might be in case we are gonna to see continuation to the downside.